Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again with Cubicles, the Conduits, Old Man's Journey to Journeyman. And of course, you saw that first part there with Don Corleone saying, they keep pulling me back in. I thought that'd be good. Hopefully I don't get copyright stricken. So if you don't see the video, you'll find out, you'll know why. That'll probably be one of the main reasons is using 5 seconds of that clip. But the reason that I use that 5 clips is something I wanted to get into that kind of goes back to my past career, and that's starting to try to kind of encroach or come back in certain ways. It keeps kind of tapping you on the shoulder like, hey, you remember you used to do this for a long time. Why don't you do this again? But before I get to that, I wanted to tell you all that I'm so grateful to each and every one of you that has reached out with comments, that has subscribed, that have liked videos, that have gone through and actually watched them. My hope is that in some way that this is worthwhile to you all, and my hope is that obviously that's probably why you subscribe, because maybe you do, you get this journey, you're going on one of your own. And once again, I mean, we're at like, I think 300 subscribers or something. It's crazy. I never thought I'd have more than 2, to be honest with you. So the fact that you all are still hanging around, like I said, and listening to me babble, I appreciate you greatly. But I just wanted to say that, so I'm not going to stop being sappy. So the whole thing with the title, that keep pulling me back, is, as I said, my past work livelihood is trying to catch up with me now. And just a few days ago, I had a recruiter that was talking to me, and I had sent in an application weeks before, and so she finally gets back with me saying that they're hiring for the position. It was like a business to business support type of thing, stuff that I've done before. And we get to talking, of course, and she's like, let me, it sounds like these are some things that the client's going to really want. I'm going to put them in front of you, and we'll see if we can get you an interview with them. I said, that's fine. You go ahead and put me in front of them, whatever, not thinking anything of it. And then the other day, she calls me and tells me that they want to, set up an interview with me. I'm torn because on the one hand, I don't want to burn any bridges. But at the same time, I know that I'm really not interested in going back to that life. You all know you're either still there or you're making that decision to pivot. You might still be there, you might have pivoted, but you know what you came from or what you're dealing with now in that work world, in that corporate world, in the actual office atmosphere. And it's just not something that I want to do anymore. And the more I talk to her, and the funny thing is there's, they give you paperwork about what you need to say before the interview and all the questions that you should ask. They have this whole guidelines. They basically want to make sure that you're, the ideal candidate for them, because this hiring manager, I should say, this recruiter puts you in front of them. So y'all know how this goes. Anyway, there was a portion in there that really, when I read it, it kind of hit me as to why I never really want to go into that world again. Once again, I'm not trying to burn bridges. I hate to be one of the guys that's like, oh, they're going to look at your social media and know these things, find out these things about you. But truth be told, there's just some things about the corporate world that really stuck out to me when I saw this portion of that questionnaire, that guidance, right? So I'll read that to you now. The vast majority of people approach the interview the same as they would approach a purchase. They want to ask, is this what I'm looking for? Is this my best option? Am I going to be happy about this later? This is perfectly natural and correct when the time is right. Unfortunately, prior to the interview, you have not yet reached that point. In this case, your product must decide it likes you first. Then the decision is all yours. So, to me, it's the level of arrogance that kind of goes along with that sort of statement, is that I have to decide that the product has to decide if it wants me. And for some reason, that really turned me off. It really turned everything back into me as to why I'm okay with pivoting, why I want to pivot so bad, why I'd rather do things with my hands, create things, rather than to pretend that I'm something that other people want me to be. Of course, in every single job that you do, whether it be apprentice, or electricians, the whole thing, you're going to have to do things in a certain way. Understood. We talked about this before. It's like just being able to know and the satisfaction that you created something yourself. When you're in that world, you can leave the office and you don't feel like anything's been accomplished at all. If nothing else, I always felt like I felt worse because I had probably been, browbeaten, talked down, talked to like I was complete garbage by someone that I was supposed to be serving, trying to give them the best possible service, the best treatment. The customer's always right, sort of thing. In this, what I have found when we're talking about this side of work, the trades, how is it that you can go and sweat your brains out uh, building something, being bone tired, and feel more accomplished and feel better the next day, aside from being sore, than you ever did with some company, some corporate desk job? When you explain that to me, it's like it's unreal. A lot of you have talked to me about that. How much you loved working with your hands compared to at a corporation at a desk. So that little statement that really took me by surprise. It really set in stone, like I said, the reasons why I no longer want to be in that world. When I feel like I am a product and when the product has to determine if they want to be bothered with me, well, I just don't know how long I want to be bothered with that product, right? It's not the way it's supposed to be. I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad that she sent me that guidance because it, like I said, it really tripped something to me as to why I want to be in the trades, why I want to be an electrician so badly. I don't want to be in that side of things. And it's hard work. This is very hard work. I get that. But like I said, there's something about it that is so much more satisfying when I have bled, when I have sweated, when I have built. It's just a different thing. So I don't see that I'm going to make this interview. I'm going to let her know that I'm not interested, that I do have something else going on. I Just so you know about my latest contract that I'm about to start. I did do my urine test. They call it, now this is gross, y'all. They call it an oral fluids test. I would almost like for them to just call it, a pee test or a piss test because oral fluids test sounds terrible. But anyway, I've done that and I'm waiting right now for those to come through background check and that sort of thing, and I'll get to start. I would say that you all will start seeing some things from me from the field by next week. You should start seeing those videos coming out, and I'll just show you kind of things that I can show you, sort of thing. I don't want to get myself in trouble being on the site and showing things that I shouldn't show, but of course, just want to make sure that I keep you all posted. That's the whole point in us doing this, that you can kind of keep an eye on me, and I can share you all stories as well. So I just wanted to tell y'all kind of about what I encountered with that recruiter. Like I said, a lot of times it takes you back. You start thinking, oh man, this was easy. This was my livelihood. I would make more money doing that. That's what I'm used to. And then you start playing the tape through a bit more, and all of a sudden you start realizing, well, wait a minute, that's not what I want to do. I hated that world that I was in. I felt awful when I came home. And you start making that, what they call a juxtaposition. You start, comparing the two of them. And you realize that when you're working with your hands, when you're able actually to see the work of your hands, whenever you're able to see that your labor has created something, it's just a different world. And I think that you all understand completely what I'm saying. Um, but that's all I got. I appreciate y'all once again. I did actually figure out how to put those little weird things up on the thing, so you'll probably see like subscribe and like and set your notifications and all that. Everybody else does it, so I decided I would do it as well. But once again, y'all, I appreciate y'all so much. Keep commenting out there. I look forward to hearing from y'all. Y'all take care.